Hi everyone, today we're going to learn a beginner version of Have You Ever Seen the Rain by CCR. We'll go through the chords used throughout the song so that we're familiar and comfortable with playing them, and then move into how the song is played, step by step, verse by verse, nice and slow and together. Now before we start playing, the first thing you want to do is make sure that you're in tune. I suggest using a digital tuner so that you can get your guitar in perfect tuning. Have You Ever Seen the Rain is played in standard tuning. Another thing that you want to do before you play is make sure that your fingernails are cut nice and short. This will make it easier for you to press down on the strings, and this will eliminate any unnecessary muting or buzzing of the strings. Now also what we're going to do is we're going to number our fingers so that when I explain to you which fingers to use to form the chord, you'll know what I mean. So, number 1 finger is going to be our index finger, number 2 finger is our middle finger, number 3 finger is going to be our ring finger, and number 4 finger is our pinky. Okay, now we're going to go into tuning the guitar. Right now I'm currently tuned in standard tuning, so if you don't have access to a tuner, then you can tune off me. We'll start with our big E string. Here we go. Okay, now we'll move down to our A string. Okay, now we'll move down to our D string. And now the G string. And the B string. And finally our high E string. Okay, now that we're in tune, let's move into the song. Okay, now that we're all tuned, we'll go through the chords used throughout the song. The song is structured over 5 main chords. We use an A minor, an E minor, a C chord, an F chord. I'll also explain to you, if you're not very good at using the bar chords, how to do the F variation. And finally, a G chord. Now let's go into each one of those chords individually and in detail, the first one being the A minor.
The next chord we'll learn is an A minor, which also uses 3 fingers.
So to play the A minor chord, we're going to use fingers number 1, 2, and 3. So how we'll do this is we'll take finger number 2 first, we'll place it onto the 2nd fret on the D string. We'll take finger number 3, place it onto the 2nd fret of the G string. And then finger number 1 is going to come down here onto the B string on the 1st fret. And your A minor chord should sound like this. Now if you can, try and bring your thumb up here just a touch this big E string, because what we want to try to do is to not play the big E string and only actually play these strings here instead of the big E, because the E string is not actually included in this chord. Okay, the next chord we'll do is the E minor.
The next chord, E minor, is only using 2 fingers. Whichever 2 fingers is most comfortable for you is what you should use.
Okay, the E minor chord uses only 2 fingers. You can use whichever 2 fingers are preferred by you, but I would suggest using fingers number 1 and 2, especially for this song. So finger number 1 will go onto the 2nd fret on the A string. Finger number 2 is going to go into the 2nd fret of the D string. Now for this E minor chord, we're going to play all the strings, and it should sound like this. Okay, the next chord is the C chord.
The next chord is a C chord. The C chord uses 3 fingers.
Okay, the C chord uses 3 fingers as well, just like the A minor. We're going to use the same fingers as well. Fingers number 1, 2, and 3. So we'll put finger number 3 down first. Finger number 3 is going to be placed onto the 3rd fret on the A string. Finger number 2 is going to be placed onto the 2nd fret on the D string. Finger number 1 is going to be placed on the first fret on the B string. The C chord should sound like this. Now again, like I explained for the A minor, if you can, try and bring your thumb around here just to touch the big E string so that when you play it, it doesn't sound like that, it will sound like this. So you won't hear it at all because it's not actually included in the C chord. Now the next one we're going to go over is the G chord.
The next chord, G, uses only 3 fingers. You can use whichever 3 fingers is most comfortable for you to complete the chord.
Okay, the G chord uses 3 fingers, which is called a G major. Now you can either use fingers number 1, 2, and 4, or fingers number 2, 3, and 4. Or you can play a 4-finger G, which is what I like to do, which uses all 4 fingers. I'll show you both ways so that you can decide which one you prefer the best and which is easiest for you. So for now, we'll do it with fingers number 2, 3, and 4. So how we'll do this, finger number 2 is going to go onto the 2nd fret on the A string. Finger number 3 is going to come onto the 3rd fret on the big E string. And then finger number 4 is going to come down here onto the 3rd fret on the high E. When we put those all down together, the G chord should sound like this. Now if we decide to switch and use finger number 1 instead of finger number 3, we keep finger number 4 where it is. Finger number 1 replaces finger number 2 onto the 2nd fret on the A string, and finger number 2 replaces finger number 3, which was on the 3rd fret of the big E string, while finger number 4 down here stays on this high E string on the 3rd fret, and it should sound like this and exactly the same as the other way. Now if you're playing in this form, this is when you can take finger number 3 and place it down onto the 3rd fret on the B string. Keep all your other fingers exactly where they were, and this gives you your 4-finger G, which does sound a little different. Should sound like this. Okay, the next chord we'll learn, and the final chord, is the F chord.
The next chord, F, is a bar chord and incorporates all 4 fingers.
Now the F chord is a bar chord. Some people have a lot of difficulty playing bar chords, so I'll show you the proper way to play the bar chord form, and I'll also show you a variation of the F bar chord, which is a little bit easier to play, but still difficult. So the original bar chord version uses finger number 1 has to press down onto all the strings on the 1st fret. What fingers number 2, 3, and 4 are going to do is finger number 3 is going to be pressed down onto the 3rd fret on the A string. Finger number 4 is going to be pressed onto the 3rd fret on the D string. Finger number 2 is going to come down here onto the 2nd fret on the G string. And then the remaining 3 strings are going to be pressed down with our number 1 finger, like so. And your F chord should sound like this. Now the F variation is played exactly the same way, except our finger number 1 doesn't have to come all the way over to here. So what we do is the position of fingers number 2, 3, and 4 stay where they were. And with finger number 1, we're just going to press down onto the high E string and the B string on the 1st fret. And it should sound like this. Now as you can see, this finger is not up. It's flat down, pressing down onto all 2 strings. Okay, now let's move into how the song is played. Okay, before we get started into the chords used and how they're used and the manner of which they're used, I'm going to show you the basic strumming pattern of this song because it's a little different. he doesn't actually continuously strums. There's a small pause in between each strum, or every two strums I should say. The way he does it is a down up strum, and then there's a small tiny pause, and then a down up strum again. Okay? So it goes like this. Down up down up down up down up down up down up down up. It goes like that throughout the entire song. Now he doesn't switch chords too quickly, so you can almost concentrate on the strumming just as much as concentrating on playing the right chord. Now we'll go into which chords are used and how. Okay, we'll start with the intro of the song. I'll play it first, and then you can hear what it's going to sound like after you've practiced a little bit. So it's comprised of three chords: an A chord, A minor chord, an F chord, and a C chord. And then there's a little bass part that goes da 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 da. We're not going to play that today because that's actually not played on guitar anyways. So I'll play the part for you in regular time, and then we'll come back and we'll play it together, nice and slow. So here we go on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's the intro, played a little bit fast, but that's basically what it sounds like. Now let's play the intro together, nice and slow. Okay, so nice and slow together, we'll start on the A minor chord, then move to, if it's easier for you, the F variation chord, and then to the C chord. Okay, so on the count of 4, we'll play it nice and slow together, starting with the A minor. 1, 2, 3, 4. F, C. Okay, let's do that one more time. From the A minor to an F variation to a C chord. On the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. F, C. Okay. Now, again at regular speed, that should sound like this. Okay, now that we've practiced that part, practice on your own, or rewind the video and practice it with me again, and then we'll move into the verse. Okay, so we'll move into the verse, which is comprised of only 2 chords actually, a C, and for the purpose of this, so that we stay on the same track, we're going to use a 3-finger G, or of course you can use whichever G in the introduction that you like, which would be a 4-finger G. But like I said, for instruction purposes, I'm going to use the 3-finger G. Now basically he plays from a C to a G, and he stays on each chord for an extended amount of time. Now I'll play through it at regular time, and you're going to have to learn the song so that you know when he changes. But when we're playing it together, I'll let you know. So in regular time, I'm going to play by myself. It should sound like this. And that's the whole verse. Now we'll play it nice and slow together, and I'll cue you when you have to switch from the C to the G, and then back to the C, and again back to the G, and then after that, again back to the C. Okay, here we go. Let's try that now. Okay, so nice and slow. On the count of 4, we'll start on the C, and we'll stay on that C, and I'll let you know when we're going to switch to the G. Okay? So, 1, 2, 3, 4. To the G. Back to the C. Stay on the C. Still stay on the C. Okay, the G's coming up. Here we're going to change right now. Back to the C. Stay on the C. Okay. Now, let's try that one more time, again, nice and slow. We'll start from the C, and I'll prompt you when to change to the G. And then back to the C, and back to the G, and then finally again back to the C 2 more times. Okay, so on the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, here comes a change to the G. Back to the C. Still stay on the C. Still stay on the C. Okay, here's the change coming up right now. To the G. Back to the C. Okay, good job, guys. Now let's move into the chorus. Okay, now the chorus is when it gets a little bit difficult because there's a few extra changes when you're not really used to them from just going from that C to the G all the time in the verse. So the chorus starts out with an F. In our case, we'll use the F variation to a G, and then to a C, then a quick change to an E minor, and another quick change to the A minor. Okay? So he plays that variation twice, and then the final version is just the F, the G, then he finishes on the C, and then continues on the C back into the next verse. Now, I'll play the chorus in regular time so that you know what it should sound like, and then we'll go through and we'll play it nice and slow together. Okay, so I'll start on the F on 3. 1, 2, 3. G, C, E minor, A minor, F, G, C, E minor, A minor, F, G, and we ended off on the C. Okay, now that's in regular time. Now let's play it together nice and slow. Now you're going to have to practice this a bit because this is a little bit of a hard change, and he changes from that C to the E and to the A pretty quick. But this is great practice, guys. Now let's try practice together. Okay, now as always, I'll prompt you when to change, and we'll play it slow so that we get used to it slow. The best thing to do is to learn how to change chords slowly, and that will gain your speed. Okay? So we'll start on the F chord, and we'll change to a G chord, and then to the C chord, and then a quick change to the E minor. And the best way to do this is from our C chord, our finger number 2 is already in position for the E chord, okay? And as a matter of fact, it's even in shape for the A minor chord. So when we switch from the C to an E minor, all you have to do is lift off fingers number 1 and finger number 3, because finger number 2 is not going to move anywhere. And we're just going to put finger number 1 down there in its place to create that E minor chord. And again, finger number 2 is going to stay in place again for the A minor chord switch. We lift our finger number 1, put our finger number 1 down here onto the first fret of the B string, And then finger number 2 is going to drop down onto the 2nd fret of the G string right below our finger number 2 to give us our A minor. And that is what makes it really easy if you strategize how you place your fingers so that it's easy to switch between chords. The least movement possible is going to make the fastest changes. Okay, so on the count of 4, we're going to start on that F, G, C, E minor, A minor. Okay, we'll do the first part and then we'll move into the last part right afterwards. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, F, G, to the C, to the E minor, to the A minor, back to the F, to the G, to the C, to the E minor, to the A minor. Okay, now let's practice that one more time. Again, F, G, C, E minor, A minor. One more time from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. F, G, C, E minor, A minor, F, G, C, E minor, A minor. Okay, now from here we move into the last part, which we'll show you now. Now the last part of the chorus is basically just the first three chords that we played in the chorus, and from there he moves back into the verse. So the first 3 chords are the F, the G, and the C. Now he plays those 3 chords exactly like he plays it the first 2 times in the same rhythm, except he doesn't go from that C to the E minor or the A minor. So we'll play that part together, nice and slow, on the count of 3. Just follow me. 1, 2, 3. To the G, to the C, and we're gonna stay there. Let's try that one more time. On the F, to the G, to the C. On the count of 4 this time. 1, 2, 3, 4. To a G, to the C, and we're going to stay there. Okay, now from there, he moves back into the verse, which we learned earlier, and then back into one more chorus. And that's the whole song. The whole song is probably only about 2.5 minutes long. It's quite short. Now if you have any questions or you need anything clarified, don't hesitate to send me an email. And otherwise, I suggest you practice those switches and you'll get better. Okay, thanks for watching, guys.